Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. This is indeed where men and women from around the world gather in defense of liberty. I am your host, Bill Bailey, who will be channeling the patriotism of America's founding fathers, such as Sam Adams, who said during his American independence speech in Philadelphia, that would be on August 1st, 1776, quote, "Our contest is not only whether we ourselves shall be free, but whether there shall be left to mankind an asylum on earth for civil and religious liberty." Rings even more true today, doesn't it? Here in America, you know, the birthplace of liberty, it's under attack. And if America goes, so goes the world. There are no safe havens, right? Where are you going to escape to? H.G. Wells said, one of my favorite writers, by the way, "If we don't end war, war will end us." He was specifically talking about the proliferation of nuclear weapons a long time ago. And look where we are today with the Satan II in Russia, hypersonic missile that can take out a state the size of Texas. Nuclear torpedoes with these, massive megaton nuclear payloads that can create a tidal wave and wipe out the entire eastern seaboard. Living in perilous times, folks. So speaking of that, nukes, Russia's military conducted a simulated nuclear strike in a drill just 2 days ago that was ordered by President Vladimir Putin. He did so only hours after his parliament voted to rescind the country's ratification of a global nuclear test ban. Russia is winning in Ukraine, by the way. They are, just a fact. And have you noticed the Biden regime and their Orwellian news outlets have been mute on the Ukraine war lately? But we know why, right? They have their new forever war in the Middle East. The satanic Biden regime, the neocons, the industrial military complex, and all the warmongers must be having an apocalyptic orgasm about right now as they ignite World War III. They already have their state media outlets showing horrific carnage from the Hamas attacks on Israel almost 24/7, yet almost no coverage about the Ukraine war. And they didn't show any of the gore of war between Ukraine and Russia. But with Israel, they're certainly showing it. No doubt about it, America is preparing to go to war in the Middle East. Let's just look at the facts for a little bit, all right? Let's start with this. Just today, multiple Boeing Stratotankers have been spotted off the coast of California. These are refuelers. The U.S. carrier strike group, led by the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier CVN-69 Dwight D. Eisenhower, is now powering through the East Atlantic, heading for the Straits of Gibraltar on its way to the Eastern Mediterranean. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier strike group is already stationed in the Eastern Mediterranean. And by the way, ever since it's arrived, Russia started flying fighter jets 24/7 that are armed with nuclear-tipped hypersonic missiles that are in range of striking this carrier group and sending it to the bottom of the sea. This ain't going to be like wars of the past, folks. Weapons are way too sophisticated now, super deadly, super state-of-the-art, and it'll be unlike any war we've ever fought. Be the worst war ever and the shortest war ever if it goes nuclear. More and more F-15s, F-16s, and A-10 fighters are arriving in the Middle East. The U.S. is sending an additional THAAD missile defense battery and several Patriot missile defense battalions to the Middle East, as well as 900 additional troops under CENTCOM command. The Bataan Amphibious Ready Group, consisting of the USS Bataan, USS Carter Hall, and approximately 2,500 Marines from the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit, has just entered the Red Sea, heading for hostile waters near Israel. Israel has agreed, but I just got some breaking news, so stick with me to the end. Israel has agreed with the Biden regime to wait to launch their massive ground invasion into Gaza until the U.S. gets its war equipment and military personnel in place. I'm convinced that if Israel goes forward with a full-out ground assault on Gaza, the entire Middle East will thereafter be embroiled in a massive war that will quickly expand into full-on World War III that will ultimately end in a nuclear world war, causing the death and destruction on a scale unimaginable, truly biblical proportions. Billions will die and the world as we know it will end. Probably be the second coming. So if you're saved, I mean, we know how the story ends. For the 9th day in a row, Iranian-backed militants have targeted U.S. forces in the Middle East. Iran's foreign minister, in a speech to the UN General Assembly, just warned the United States that, quote, "You won't be spared from the fire of the war in the region if the Gaza war does not stop. I say it frankly to American statesmen. We don't welcome the expansion of war in the region, but if the genocide in Gaza continues, America won't be spared from this fire." And this is coming from a spokesman of the greatest sponsor of state terrorism in the world, Iran. These are the same people that are constantly chanting death to America, for years, and death to Israel, and threatening to blow Israel off the face of the earth, hinting when we get nuclear weapons, which I fear Iran now has, thanks to the Obama pallets of cash, and Biden, the greatest enemy America, Biden said, was the MAGA Republicans. No, actually, I think it's you, Joe. When you released $6 billion to Iran on 9/11, on the anniversary of 9/11, he gives the biggest sponsor of state terrorism $6 billion. In less than a month, wasn't even 30 days later, their proxies launched this attack on Israel, this horrible attack. Yesterday, Reuters reported, along with many other news outlets, that U.S. military carried out strikes against 2 facilities in eastern Syria used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and groups it backs. The Pentagon said on Thursday, in response to the spate of attacks against U.S. forces in both Iraq and Syria. And by the way, America did use fighter jets and not missiles. So in that regard, I guess we could say the air war has already started, right? As tensions soar over the Israeli-Hamas conflict, U.S. and coalition troops have been attacked at least 19 times in Iraq and Syria by Iran-backed forces in the past week. And my understanding is we have troops there to guard corporations' oil fields. Why don't they hire, and Bannon said this earlier, why don't they hire their own security? Why do we have our military people there? But, it is what it is at this point, right? Biden sent a message to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, warning Tehran against targeting U.S. personnel in the Middle East. He said, Biden, he's probably fallen asleep as he said it. My warning to the Ayatollah was that if they continue to move against those troops, our American troops, we will respond. And he should be prepared. It has nothing to do with Israel, Biden told reporters before he tripped on a flight of steps and buried his face in the concrete. Currently, Gaza has no electricity and is in complete darkness. There is no communication, no internet, as they continue to get pounded by Israel. It's worse than shock and awe in Baghdad. I mean, they are leveling these cities, or parts of the cities. There are tunnel systems under Gaza that are very well-built, concrete tunnels, massive, like 300 miles of them. And they're going to have to go in and destroy these tunnels. So this is going to be a protracted deal. And I got some breaking news that's going to, light a fire under all of us to up our prepping game here at the end of this. I feel bad for the innocent life being taken on both sides. But when you knowingly harbor terrorists and praise, the terrorist you're hiding in your community, and then those terrorists pull off a horrific attack on a neighboring country, you should have expected the blowback. Israel was attacked, and she has every right to defend herself. War sucks. Innocent people die. I hate war, despise it. But humans been fighting and killing humans since Cain and Abel. I think it's in our DNA at this point, unfortunately. Egypt has assembled a massive mechanized division of tanks and other military hardware near Israel. Have you seen the images? I mean, tank after tank after tank. I mean, fields of them. It's incredible how much damage to America and the world the Biden regime has brought upon us. Things were pretty awesome during the Trump years here in America and abroad. Like no new wars. Just saying. The Biden communists will burn America to the ground, start nuclear war. They're willing to exterminate humanity before they cede power. They are so dirty and so deep into it at this point, and we're getting the receipts. We're discovering everything. Discovering the FBI had like 40 informants around Biden. They got all the dirt on him. Why haven't they tried him or, brought charges against him? Because they're using him. He's their tool. The stakes have never been higher. This election cycle is going to be the most hard-fought, wicked, evil battle for power in probably the history of the world. The fate of America and the free world rests on what happens next November, 12 months from now, if we make it that far. Now, I'm just reading that Israel is planning to expand their ground operation tonight. This is breaking news. It's actually hearing it's happening right now. And they are warning the residents of Gaza to flee south if you want to live. So it looks like it's game on, folks. I'm going to tell you, we're so close to full out nuclear war. It could happen while I'm making this video. There's no cool heads right now. No one's pushing for peace. They're all pushing for war. In this, Simon Atiba, I'm not sure how to say his name, so I'm sorry for botching that. I believe he's a Washington, D.C. correspondent from Africa. He posted on X, formerly Twitter, quote, breaking, Biden vows to go to war against China to defend the Philippines after the Philippines Coast Guard ship and supply boat were rammed by Chinese vessels at disputed shoal in the South China Sea. The United States reaffirms that Article 4 of the 1951 U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty extends to arms attacks on Philippine armed forces, public vessels, and aircraft, including those of its Coast Guard, anywhere in the South China Sea. The U.S. State Department wrote in a statement days ago, note, Article 4 of the 1951 U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty essentially commits both the United States and the Philippines to come to each other's aid in the event of an armed attack in the Pacific area, as long as it is in accordance with the respective constitutional processes. So this is like Article 5 of NATO. I didn't even know this existed, so I'm learning something too. Chinese state media says China will continue to firmly, if things aren't, we're going to go to war with China, okay, in the South China Sea. And it's heating up, and Biden's like all in for war. War with Russia, war with China, war in the Middle East. the Antichrist has nothing on Joe Biden. And Chinese state media says China will continue to firmly support Iran in safeguarding its national sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national dignity. There is no national dignity in Iran with their government. The Iranian people are fine until the mullahs took over. Life in Iran looked like life in the West until the religious zealots took over the country. And will strongly oppose any external forces interfering in Iran's internal affairs, said Chinese premier. So China, and we can add Russia, Iran, North Korea, and many other countries in the Middle East, will defend Iran should things escalate in the Middle East. This is the new axis of evil. Thank you, Joe Biden, for forming the synergetic group of effing evil. And like I'm saying, it appears that Israel is going with its ground troops into Gaza right now. So it looks like things are escalating. We'll know more as the hours roll by, probably not days, but hours. And remember, Biden, when we see how China's operating, China wants us to get embroiled in a war in the Middle East. They're probably behind the curtain, pulling the strings. Probably the ones that sucked us into the Ukraine war and want to get us involved in another war. But remember Biden letting the Chinese spy balloon navigate completely across the continental United States before they allowed it to go out to sea, and then even waited so they could upload all the information before they finally shot it out of the sky? What do you bet the Chinese were mapping specific targets, recointering America, scoping out their targets, better imagery and surveillance than satellites for a future bombing attack, probably nukes. And they had like a Stingray thing on the balloon that was capturing all the cell phone communications at the military bases as they went over them. And Joe Biden just let them, they're my friends, they're my buds. I think they are, Joe. I think they are your friends. And I think they own you. I think you are corrupted not only by the deep state, the administrative state, but the Chinese communist. I think they own your ass. It's going to get worse, my friends. Our greatest tool against this evil is prayer to the Almighty. Pray every day. Pray for America. Pray for the wars to end. Pray for God to root out the evil in this country, to bring justice back to the courtrooms, to expose the deep state, and to bring justice to this country. And I believe the speaker that just won, against all odds, a very religious man, could be that we're starting to see God's work to save this country. So don't let up praying. Very important. 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Keep praying and keep prepping. I just ordered the Jace medical kit, with the antibiotics and stuff in it. If you sign up for their newsletter, you get 10% off. It's going to be like $280. Would I rather have $280 for something else? In normal times, yes. In today's times, no. And we did pull the trigger. I actually posted made a community post on YouTube. What would you rather have? $4,000 in today's world, the world we're living in, or a food dehydrator, which cost about $4,000, by the way, too, a large one. And it ended up being 75, over 300 people voted. It's like 75-25. And for a lot of people that don't have $400 in the bank, let alone $4,000, I can see why a lot of people might want the $4,000. But we did order a food dehydrator from Harvest Right, I think it is. And I'm going to be putting that thing to use. It's going to be running all winter. I am going to freeze dry as much food as I can push through the thing. think, they're like once you load those trays, it's like a 24-hour cycle or something. It's not like it's real quick, but it's going to be, and they're like $2 a day in electricity or $2.50 a day to run them. I don't care. I'm going to put up as much freeze-dried food as I can because I think time is short. And they're like 3 weeks. I talked to the people at Harvest Rate. They're in stock, but shipping is behind. And he said it might be 2 to 3 weeks. And I actually have a check coming that I was going to order it out of. And then I started thinking that it's coming later this month. And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to order that now. But anyways, I hope you're up in your prepping game. So keep praying, keep prepping. May God bless you and keep you and your family safe. Until next time, Sons of Liberty out.